You're listening to PJ and Friends on pjandfriends.com. Orlando, Florida.
PJ and Friends is proud to present another edition of their Spotlight interview series. And now, welcome your host, PJ.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It is another edition of our Spotlight interview series. Today, we have the awesomely talented Mr. Chase Padgett on the phone. Hello, Chase. How are you today?
I'm doing good, PJ. How you rolling, man?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Hey, you're impressive. Chris, you probably hear that a lot, and you're like this well-educated guy. You're very talented, very funny, very musical, and you're living a dream.
Keep going, man. Yeah, I'm loving this.
You're living a dream that some of us get to live through what you do, so that's great. The object of these interviews is to get people to learn about the individuals that we're talking to. So let's start with, where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Naples, Florida. Actually, that's not true. I was born in Winter Haven, Florida, but then from like 5 to young adulthood, I was in Naples, Florida.
Okay. And Naples, that's way down there.
Yeah, Naples, it's down there. It's like right where I-75 sort of takes its turn towards Miami.
Right.
It's a place to grow up. People do it there.
Right. Well, yeah, they tend to grow up wherever they go. That's kind of cool, though. And now you eventually, okay, so where did you get your introduction to music, to your love of, because would you say your love is first of music and theater, or is music your passion? Is it music your love first?
Honestly, it's all the same. It's all really the same. I enjoy both very, very equally. My first exposure to any of the arts, really, I think, came just from a young age. My mom's side of the family is very musical, and my dad kind of wished he was. So I remember seeing like footage of me as a kid with like a full-sized guitar. I was a toddler, and my dad like videoing me playing guitar or whatever. So it was always around to a certain degree. But then in Naples, I can remember being the beneficiary of a really good public school music program. Naples has a lot of rich people, and all the property taxes go to the schools. So I wasn't rich. I got a really good byproduct from it. In 4th grade, the entire music class had a ukulele assigned to every student. And in 5th grade, it was a guitar for every student. So that was the first time I really put my hands on the guitar and learned anything.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. If they put a ukulele in your hands today, they're putting like iPads and laptops in kids' hands. I wonder what they're going to do with the future there. They're going to be interesting to see what happens. So that's a cool thing, though. I mean, that's one of the biggest things we see nowadays, especially in education, a lot of cutbacks. And one of the cutbacks we see is in the what they view as extracurricular, which is arts and sports and things like that. But I think it's a very important thing. Obviously, with where you are now, that's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
So, who were your musical influences back then? What year are we talking? What age are we talking?
Oh gosh, 5th grade. I'm about 8 years old. 9-ish. And then I remember also my Uncle Gary played trumpet. I wanted to play something, but for whatever reason, I just didn't choose guitar. I think it's because I wanted to stay in school band or whatever. So in 5th grade, before middle school, I chose trumpet, started learning that. So then when I got into 6th grade, I ended up landing in 7th grade band. And then, so I was like a year ahead with trumpet. Then about halfway through high school, I just didn't want to play trumpet anymore. I just did not have a passion for it. But my dad had bought me a guitar way before that, and it was just sitting in my closet. So out of boredom, I sort of picked it up and remembered all of the things that I had learned in elementary school, just simple chords, G, E, D, A. And then I just found I was playing it for hours a day. So I just kept doing that.
That's very cool. And
yeah.
So, but what back then though? What music was influencing you? What kind of music were you listening to?
I would say blues. A lot of Eric Clapton. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'd listen to that a lot. I also liked jazz a lot too. I remember going to jazz camps for trumpets and being exposed to the sounds like Duke Ellington, Count Basie. A lot of old school it's just swing bands of the post and during World War II era, Glenn Miller, right? It was that was that kind of sound that was sort of given to me through, once again, this public education.
Wow. And that's you look at the blues, Clapton, Ray Vaughan, jazz, swing bands. And here's the thing. I didn't get hooked on to some of these things until I was older. Now I appreciate, like, if I'm working from home and I'm working on something, I'll turn the jazz channel on the cable channel. And I'll sit there because it doesn't cloud the mind. It doesn't interfere. You know what I mean? Or I'll even turn classical, light classical or classical on. And I find though, for me, music like that, if I'm going to listen to it other than like just as background noise for what I'm doing in my life, I prefer to watch it live, because when you watch jazz or you watch classical and you see all the moving parts that go into making something like that, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's truly a spectacle. And I still believe to this day, well done jazz is the hardest music in the Western Hemisphere. It really is. I mean, classical, absolutely, the heights of that, or seeing like Ingrid Malmsteen shred on a guitar, it's incredible. But the fact that jazz musicians are improvising it, like there is a whole framework to it that is just requires a level of dedication and brilliance that most people never know.
Right. So where? Okay. So you're now doing trumpet. You're learning. What? Where do you go from there? What's your next step? Because you've gone through UCF. You've got for those of us, I don't know what kind of education you have as far as that, but you sound like a master. I mean, because you're just so talented, and you've done awesome stuff with what you have. So what was the next step for you? You've trumpet and your camps and stuff. What was the next step?
After that, I was also, during high school, while I was getting more into guitar, or at least picking it up for the first time, I really found improv. So the band director and the theater director just kind of let me get in as much as I possibly could. And by the end of my high school year, geez, I think my last semester I had like 2 drama classes plus jazz band.
Right.
I think I had like 1 actual academic class, and it was not hard. It was like marine biology. It was just like, is this a whale? Oh, it is. You pass. So then after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to guitar building school. I don't know if you knew this about me, actually.
No, I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, it's a thing that happened, but in between college and high school. So while I was going to high school, I told myself, I'm going to move to Chicago, and I'm going to study at Second City, and I'm going to get that education because I love improv that much, and I want to do comedy like that. But then I also thought, but you know what? I need to have some sort of training or vocational skill, so I'm not killing myself making minimum wage trying to live in a big city, right?
Right.
So in high school, I got into working on my own guitar, like repairing the pickups or whatever, just because it was cool to me. And then I found that there was a guitar repair and building school that actually was in the same town that my grandma was in Phoenix. So after high school, I bummed around Naples for 9 months or whatever, and then I moved to Phoenix, and for 6 months I did a program that taught me how to do guitar building and repair, and I built a couple of guitars, and that actually was my job for a little bit while I was in college.
But that's kind of cool, though, isn't it? I mean, that's cool because, I don't know if the average person even thinks this kind of stuff, but by building it, your hands on something like that, you're learning what makes what work, and the intricacies of it. I think that's a very cool thing to have done that led you along to where you are now. I think that's a very cool thing.
Oh, yeah. It definitely feeds into the how do these things work. I have always been very engineer-minded. I'm very curious by my nature, and if I find enjoyment in anything, I oftentimes end up doing just research on my own accord, just finding out how it works. Like, that's how I was kind of with music theory, and that has helped me tremendously. About ear training, that helped me tremendously too. And even comedy, like just trying to read books and take classes where I can. I just love sort of the nerdy mechanics of things in a way that a lot of people, I think, just go, oh, that's a pretty flower. Whereas I'd be like, give me the soil composition, man. I got to know what's the phosphorus. Give me the phosphorus.
That's so cool. But you're right. You're 100% right, and that makes sense. And that's one of the things that we'll get there. But with improvisation and acting, there are people that have the theory down. They have the concept down. They have the skill set behind what brings it to makes it popular, makes it successful, what makes it a good scene or a good story. Then there are people that just get up there and the old party games that people did, and that's fun too. But you'll see the most successful people seem to have invested some sort of interest in what made it funny, what made it good, what made a good scene. So I think that matters. And we have some wonderful people here in town that teach this stuff. So we've been very fortunate what we have. All right, so we'll skip ahead a little bit here. You got I don't know how far ahead this is. Okay, so your interactions. At what point did you become aware of SAC? What time did you? When did you become involved with SAC Comedy Lab?
I think my first day in level 1 was in January of 2004. Yeah, something like that. 2004, 2003. My mom had bought me level 1 as a Christmas present, and I remember volunteering like a night or two at SAC before that and seeing the shows and loving everything I was seeing, but I genuinely thought, I'll never be able to do that. Those guys are amazing and brilliant, and I'm not that. And then my mom bought me these classes, and it meant the world to me because it meant that she believed in me enough to put down money for improv classes, which, as we all know, are not cheap, right?
No.
Right.
No, not anymore.
So, right. So, I go there, and my mom, she's like, bring your guitar. You never know. Bring your guitar. And like for anyone who's ever taken improv classes, you don't need to bring anything. You so don't. Just wear a shirt and pants, maybe.
Well,
and
go unless you're Chris Dinger, and then you don't have to wear anything.
Right, totally. He's a beautiful Adonis man. So, but I was just like, fine, Mom, I will. So I brought my guitar. My teacher was Richard Paul.
Right.
And Richard, for whatever reason, was like, okay, let me hear you play after class. And I played, and he goes, oh, wow, you're actually really good. Do you want to play for, be a musician for the Tuesday nights, like the Lab Rats? So the first real performance opportunity I had with SAC was actually as a musician, just playing a guitar for Lab Rats.
Right.
And then, but because that happened, and then I started doing that on Wednesdays, I ended up seeing a minimum of 2 shows a week, usually 5, if not 7 or 9, right, because I would just be there every night of the week. And I think a lot of people don't understand that when they take improv classes. You have to go see improv.
Right.
You have to see it done. Either it fail or it succeed. Otherwise, it doesn't. You're not seeing other people make moves. You learn from that. It's really important. And I just saw so much.
Who was on stage? Who was on stage when you were watching it?
Let's see here. Back then, I think John Hunter showed up back from the West Coast at that point. Lyle was playing a lot. Dave was playing some. Jay Hopkins was playing a lot. I showed up right as Brendan Jennings was leaving the company, so there was a little bit of a window there. Clark Knine was playing a lot, and I loved Clark. I miss Clark. I wish he was around.
I wish he was too.
Yeah, he was so great. And then, like that kind of generation, Darren Verde was playing a lot. This is when Dinger was still sort of like the go-to apprentice, and Benji had just become an ensemble member at SAC.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll continue this conversation.
All right.
We'll be right back.
You're listening to PJ and Friends on PJandFriends.com. Orlando, Florida.
Have you ever wanted to ride in a hot air balloon? Well, you can with Orlando Balloon Rides. It's an adventure of a lifetime. Take a ride in a hot air balloon. You will fly with the winds on a truly amazing journey. Explore Florida from the orange groves to the theme parks and more. See it all from a whole new vantage point. Experience total excitement from start to finish. You will ascend above the treetops to several thousand feet. This is an experience of a lifetime. Visit OrlandoBalloonRides.com for more information. That's OrlandoBalloonRides.com. Zoom Air Adventure Park Orlando, ziplining at its best. A Zoom Air Adventure is a great outing for families, friends, or coworkers. This entertaining self-propelled attraction gives both nature lovers and challenge seekers the opportunity to enjoy the thrill of adventure. Feel your adrenaline pump as you conquer abundant treetop challenges, including exhilarating rides on our zipline. Visit zoomair.us for more information. That's zoomair.us.
PJ and Friends has several ways to promote your product, service, club, group, or business. You can sponsor a segment or a whole show. Advertising packages are affordable. We can even barter in exchange for goods and services. We can get you heard. We have live reads, which this is, and I'm going to promote 6guitars.com. Make sure you stop by there and check out one of his shows. Live reads, 30, 60-second commercials. We can do shows live on location. Email us at sales@pgandfriends.com. Also, take a moment to stop by pgandfriends.com. Check out the site, check out the different shows that we've done, the previous shows, check out our marketing material, and also like us on Facebook because we like to be liked. Now back to our buddy, Chase. Chase, how are you doing, man?
Yeah. Doing great, brother. Doing great. Just driving around beautiful, sunny Los Angeles right now.
Yeah, rub it in. We have it horrible here in Florida.
Oh, it's so rough.
It is
so rough, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, the rest of the country's freezing and they're getting ready to thaw, so we can revel in our happiness for now until the hurricane season comes.
Yep.
So let me ask you, we're going to backtrack a little bit. So when did D&D enter into your life?
When did what? I'm sorry?
Dungeons and Dragons. Did you ever play Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, yeah. I played Dungeons and Dragons way back in high school, actually. I played it a lot, like every Saturday night. Totally wasn't a guy that was into partying or drinking at all. But every Saturday night I totally played D&D with friends, and it was just four of us. And it was exactly the kind of safe, supportive, nerdy, and mostly embarrassing, not semi-embarrassing atmosphere that you would imagine it would be.
That's cool. You okay? So you performed at SAC for a while. You taught some classes there. You were friends of different characters at Disney. You did things at Disney, which was very cool. I remember a post once on Facebook where some people would call you and say, hey, "Can you do that voice for me?" And I feel bad. I felt for you so bad. And then you had some bad luck here. You were living in a place where you had a couple break-ins, 2 or 3 break-ins in a matter of a month, and you said it's time for me to move. I felt
yeah. That was rough. I moved into a bad neighborhood because the house was very big and very affordable.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is nice. And just the worst choice.
Now you didn't buy it, did you? You were renting, right?
What was that?
You weren't buying it. You were renting, right?
No, just renting.
Good,
just renting. But I totally signed the lease. And then it's funny how nothing seems bad from the outside until the moment you sign that lease. And then all the nightmares start pouring out of closets. Oh, this is a really beautiful. Oh, is that a bird on a bird feeder outside? Oh, that's really pretty. Yeah, let me sign this thing. Oh, that wasn't a bird. That was a crackhead. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That was a completely different scenario. I literally lived next to a guy who I was like, hey, good to meet you. My name is Chase. And he goes, my name is Money. That is literally what that guy did. And I didn't see it then, but he totally had a gun on him at all times. 2 days later, I was like, oh, Money has a gun in his waistband. This was a horrible choice. Well, all right, just gonna ride out this error in judgment.
Here's the thing. I didn't know it was that bad, but I felt I felt so horrible that you went through that. Now, you started doing shows at Fringe. The first show, weren't you part of the executives?
Yeah. The first show was called the Executives TV Immature, and that was in 2008.
Right.
That was my first time really doing a sketch show, and that was because working at the parks and doing stuff at SAC was good and fun and safe and everything, right? But it, at a certain point, like if you do the same shows, 100 times, you need to be challenged more, right?
Right.
So I just wanted a challenge. So I put in an application and got in. And then 2008 and 2009, did a sketch comedy group, The Executives, Mike Carr, Katie Hammond, James Keaton, Summer Iowa, lots of people around town. And then in 2009, like immediately, like during Fringe, basically, there was sort of an interpersonal conflict, and we all kind of went, we're probably not going to do this again, huh? And then, like, Jamie Jessup moved away, and then someone else moved away or whatever. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I should try to do something else that's easier to administer, because one of the reasons why sketch comedy is not as prevalent as improv or stand-up is it is the hardest thing to administrate. It's getting 7 people in a room together is a nightmare. It's a freaking nightmare, man. I was like, I'm just going to do a one-man show merely because there's less emails.
Right.
And that was Six Guitars in 2010 is when that premiered, and that's when everything sort of changed for me.
And looking at your 6guitars.com website, says a love letter to music. And you have a quote up here from the Orlando Sentinel. 6 Guitars is a pitch-perfect blend of music, comedy, and characters. Chase Padgett delivers a virtuosic performance as he becomes 6 different guitar players, each with their own distinct view, voice, and musical style, which is very, very, very cool. I have to be honest, I had not seen it. The reason I had not seen it was you were selling out, man. It was hard to get a seat there. And I didn't know anybody to get me in. I didn't know anybody. I had no connection, so I couldn't get no. But what I mean is it was selling out. This thing was very popular. It really didn't it break some records there?
Yeah. It didn't break some records per se. It didn't break any records per se at the Orlando Fringe, and a lot of people don't know this, but it was successful at Orlando, and it sold out a bunch of shows that it did not win its patron's pick. Actually, the free review won that year, believe it or not. But it was very successful, and it totally surprised me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. People really like this thing. I think I should probably keep doing this. So I just kept doing it.
Right. And I see that in 2013 you went to Vancouver Fringe. You also went to the Winnipeg Fringe. You went to Ottawa Fringe. And then you went to all the way to the Edmonton Fringe. And if I remember correctly, when you went to Edmonton, you and I talked about this once before, you have some equipment that you bring with you that a power cord had lost or broken or burnt out, and you needed to...
Kind of, sort of. So I'll backtrack a little bit there, because Vancouver and Edmonton I did not go to until the following year in 2011, or Edmonton at least. You're talking about Edinburgh. So my mom just signed me up for the Edinburgh Fringe. Like, we were already going to have a family vacation to that Fringe, and so at least that country, during that time, and then she just signed me up before I had premiered 6 Guitars. And it didn't matter to her if it was going to be good or not. Her son was going to do this thing. So, so I did 6 Guitars, and then I did it more on my own, just producing it over the summer, and that sold out all of those because of the buzz from the festival. Then I went to the Edinburgh Fringe, and that's a very different environment. The Edinburgh Fringe is the largest arts festival on earth. It is 3,000 shows, and each show has somewhere between 5 and 30-ish performances over the whole course of August. It basically triples the town's population, but like the average Fringe Festival audience there is 5 people. It's 5.
Wow.
There's so many shows, right? So I went and did that, and that was cool. Basically just a family vacation. But the thing that really helped me develop the show even further was the fact that I did it at a theater in Rochester, New York, after that Fringe for 2 months in that fall.
Right.
And I was talking to some people. I asked TJ Don one time, how many times do you do a show before you feel like you are comfortable and it's really in place? And without hesitation, he said 25. At 25, things really start to gel, and then the show makes another leap of quality every 25 times after that. And he was absolutely right. By the time I got to 50 times I had done the show, it was a completely different experience than what had premiered in Orlando. Like, a lot of people don't know that I've done the show now over 160 times, and it's really evolved a lot, and I've gotten much better at doing it. I mean, there are whole people say, like, oh, I saw the 60 cars when it did its Fringe in 2010, because you did not see the show it is now at all. There's whole new jokes, whole new bits, new songs, you know, and it never stops. I'm going to bring it back to the Orlando Fringe this year, but it's going to be a revamped, updated version of even what it is now. By the time people come see it now, it'll be a completely different show. Same concept and same kind of feel, same goals artistically.
Right.
But it's going to be something I think different and better, way better.
Now, you have done a couple other things too. You're back here in Orlando last year, and you did. You had 2 shows. You had Joyride, a musical sketch comedy adventure, and then you also revived the Nashville Hurricane. You did Nashville Hurricane again. I got to see Joyride, which was awesome. I love the technology side of stuff. So when you bring in the mixers and the samplers and the things like that, I just like, you know, that's. I'm sorry. I just, you know, I'm a geek when it comes to that stuff, so I always love it. We'd be in the green room at SAC, and you'd bring some new piece of equipment in, and you'd be playing with it. I'm like, oh, this is killing me. But did you know, so who, I forget the girl's name that helped you with that. What was her name? Joyride the musical?
Stacy.
Yeah,
Stacy Halal.
You guys had awesome thing. That too was pretty well received.
And yeah, now we think so. Now we're in a relationship as well as a creative partnership. So yeah, it's going pretty good.
Maybe I should be talking to her then. No, just kidding.
Maybe.
I'm just kidding.
She's totally angry at me that I'm on the phone right now. I can totally tell.
Why is she mad at you? Put her on. Let's talk to her.
No.
Oh, tell her we'll buy next chance we get, we'll buy a star and name it after her.
Okay. All right. Do the star registry thing.
You know, well, first, thank her very much for letting us have this time with you. I realize that she's gone so far to be with you, and here we are hogging an hour of your time. What has it been like? You've had to travel. You've booked. So do you do all this yourself? Do you do all the booking and the setting up and the scheduling and all that, or do you have people yet?
No. I did for a very long time, and I did it just enough to understand how valuable it is to have someone do it for you. Now I have a guy, his name's Kelly, and he handles all my booking administration now. And thank God I have him in my corner, because there are times where, I'll give you an example. So last fall, I ended up doing a sketch comedy showcase for NBC. And during that time, I was completely gobbled up all day by that thing, just writing and performing and honing for like 9 days straight. And during that time is when a lot of the contract negotiations were going to happen for all of the gigs that I have coming up in this year, so outside of Fringes. So if I didn't have that guy, I would have been boned. I would have just been exhausted and overspent even more so than I already was.
So, well, because I remember, you know, you have traveled. How many states in the U.S. have you been in so far?
Oh, God, most of them now. I'm trying to think of it's easier to name the states I haven't been through. I haven't been through Arkansas. I haven't been through Maine. And I think that's it.
And
I think that's it.
Of the ones you've been to, which ones did you like the most? Which ones were just the personalities and the people and the place and location? Which did you like? Which would you go back to?
You know what? I love certain towns and places a lot. I had a good time traveling through North Carolina quite a bit, especially the more interior space like Asheville, North Carolina.
Right.
That's where I had the best ribs of my life. Then I love Oregon. I love the Pacific Northwest. I should because I live there now.
Right.
I've driven across the entire Pacific Coast Highway, and that is beautiful. You got to do that. I'll tell you the parts I don't like. The middle. I mean, just from a driving perspective, it's just flat all day. And I'm not. This is not a commentary on the people. I'm sure it's very nice. But that is a rough drive to just go from the high of like the Colorado mountains. And the moment you get outside of Denver, it's just a flat pancake paradise.
See, I have not been fortunate enough because I know wasn't it a year or so ago you went over to Montana with Chris Dinger. You stopped in Montana or something like that.
Cool. Yeah, I actually visited him in Montana on one of my summer tours. He was actually out there doing his thing, so I ended up crashing with him for like a day or two, and we went to Yellowstone together for a little bit.
So you happen to be related to a very popular fellow, Ross Padgett, and he traveled with you for a while, did he not?
Yeah, he traveled with me for my first summer tour and then the second one. But then after that, he just fell into stand-up so much that that's what he's doing now. So for him to take off like 3 months to go hang out with his brother is just not possible. Also, he's grown up with a job and bills now, right?
Right.
Whereas before, it was a different kind of scenario. Although, this year, he's going to fly into Oregon and then help me drive to Florida.
Is that torture or what?
What's that?
Is that going to be torture or what? Did you?
Oh no! My brother and I get along fantastically. My brother is one of my favorite people. Yeah, motorcycle and penis. The guy just drove by.
That's fine.
My brother's one of my best friends in this world, and I love that guy. I often say that he's my favorite person. I just love him. I love him so much. We have a really, really special relationship. And being in the car with him all day, all we do is make each other laugh all day. It's great. It makes that flat pancake paradise actually paradise.
Did you get along that well as children?
What was that?
Did you get along that well as kids?
Yeah, actually. I mean, barring a couple of instances of pretty run-of-the-mill, sibling rivalry. Like one time we had to go to the emergency room because I kicked him in his eyeball. But,
who doesn't do that? You know, everybody does that once in a while.
You talk to any siblings, and that has happened. Maybe not that specific thing, right?
Right.
But stuff has happened. You know, even Ross will tell you, just run-of-the-mill sibling stuff, getting trapped in between the bed and the wall, and then being poked out with a knife.
All right, I'm gonna do one more set of commercials, then we'll come back and we'll have a couple more questions, and then we have some goofiness, some personality questions we want to ask you, and then we'll end this thing. Give me one moment.
All right.
You're listening to PJ and Friends on pjandfriends.com. Orlando, Florida.
Zoom Air Adventure Park Orlando, ziplining at its best. A Zoom Air Adventure is a great outing for families, friends, or coworkers. This entertaining self-propelled attraction gives both nature lovers and challenge seekers the opportunity to enjoy the thrill of adventure. Feel your adrenaline pump as you conquer abundant treetop challenges, including exhilarating rides on our zip line. Visit zoomair.us for more information. That's zoomair.us. Have you ever wanted to ride in a hot air balloon? Well, you can with Orlando Balloon Rides. It's an adventure of a lifetime. Take a ride in a hot air balloon. You will fly with the winds on a truly amazing journey. Explore Florida from the orange groves to the theme parks and more. See it all from a whole new vantage point. Experience total excitement from start to finish. You will ascend above the treetops to several thousand feet. This is an experience of a lifetime. Visit OrlandoBalloonRides.com for more information. That's OrlandoBalloonRides.com.
Hey, PJ and Friends has several ways to promote your product, service, club, group, or business. You can sponsor a segment or a whole show. Advertising packages are affordable. We can even barter in exchange for goods and services. Want to paint my house? Come on over. We'll give you a commercial. We can get you heard. We have live reads, 30 and 60-second commercials. We can do shows live on location. Email us at sales@pjandfriends.com for more information. Don't forget to stop by pjandfriends.com. We have previous shows, previous interviews up there. We have our marketing information. All sorts of stuff like that. And also a link to our Facebook page. So make sure you stop by. See our Facebook. And now back to Chase Padgett. Chase, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. Doing all right. How you holding up?
I'm very good. Hey, I noticed that you are Chase Padgett Productions now, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, that's the name that I've used in some of the Fringe touring that I've done. But I actually don't have like a full LLC or something I'm going to get going in the early part of this year.
So if you had a company and you had to talk to yourself from HR, what kinds of conversations would you talk to yourself about from HR?
Yeah, I would probably say, hey, thanks for coming in. We're really happy to have you on board because you do everything. But we really need you to get off Facebook, please. We need you to answer emails. And when Kelly calls you and says, beat your website, and you say you're going to do it Wednesday, it needs to happen before Saturday.
Oh.
Okay, buddy?
Okay. Let me ask you, okay, let's see here. When ordering a steak, is it rare, medium rare, or well done?
Medium, straight up.
Okay.
I can do medium rare as well.
Okay. And when ordering that steak, is it baked potato, mashed potatoes, or French fries?
Ooh, I'm going to go with sweet potato fries.
Really? Oh, you added one. Thank you. You're the first person to... And by the way, there are right answers to this. So, so far you're okay.
Right.
Other people have just failed miserably. This is a geek check. This is to see how big of a geek you are. When it comes to comic books and superheroes and stuff like that, is it DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Okay, good answer. Secondary geek check. When it comes to things like Star Trek, is it Captain Kirk or Captain Picard?
Oh, you got to go with the Shakespeare guy. It's got to be Picard, man.
Oh.
That other guy's a clown.
All right. You sort of answered this a little before, but we're going to do it again. You are 12 years old. Name 3 bands you were listening to at that time.
Weird Al Yankovic, and Ace of Base.
Ace of Base. Okay, that's very cool. What is on your playlist today?
What's on my playlist today? Dubstep. I really love this new album I got called Tetra by a group called C2C. That's I'm digging a lot.
Okay.
And of course, Tommy Emmanuel.
Very cool. Now this is their kicker. This next question is the kicker, and I'm going to tell you we've had too many politically correct answers, which in my opinion were bad, and I'll tell you why depending on how you answer. You're stuck on a desert island. You can have one item and one person with you. What would you bring with you?
One item and one person?
Yes.
Jesus, a machete and my girlfriend. That's it. Oh, how is that a politically correct answer for anyone?
Because, well, first of all, they're always doing... there's only one person that didn't say their girlfriend or their wife. And the other person... here's the thing. You're basically dooming them to be on an island with you. Okay, so that's okay. I get it. But that's politically correct because it's like, you can have anybody in the world. You can have MacGyver on with you. But you've chosen your girlfriend. So you've doomed your girlfriend to the fate that you're having.
That depends on the supposition of the actual question, my friend.
Well,
if someone's approaching me and saying, we're imprisoning you on an island and you have to choose someone to go with you, then the answer is I'm going to go alone.
Okay.
But if in a best-case scenario, a la Castaway with Tom Hanks, where if it were to happen, and then I think my least damaging scenario would be the one that I said.
Well, too bad you answered the other way around. So no, we had someone answered they wanted Ryan Stiles, and they wanted the complete works of Shakespeare with them. They didn't care about eating and staying warm, and they didn't care about having anybody there that could help them. So I thought, okay, that was interesting.
Wait, I'm gonna change my answer. What? A satellite phone. A satellite phone.
I had somebody do that too. So they clearly didn't want to be on the island, which was fine. But we're not going to let you change your answer. So you are now stuck on an island, and your girlfriend's there with you. I hope you're happy. At least you don't have to answer email and go on Facebook anymore. So you're meeting one of those requirements. So,
okay.
Hey Chase, man, you're awesome. You're living the dream. I know it can't be easy sometimes. It's got to be demanding. It's got to be a lot of work. People probably don't think it is, but it's got to be. It's a full-time job.
Oh, it's a good thing. I certainly am pretty happy with where I'm at now. It doesn't mean I'm going to stay here, but I'm going to definitely enjoy it.
So let me ask you this. When you make your millions, since your mom was the first one to put you, start scheduling you for things that you didn't know you were scheduled for, are you going to take care of her for the rest of her life when you make your millions?
Oh, I guarantee you, sir. I guarantee you I'm going to buy that woman a house.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, buddy. You are awesome. Anything you want to say, anything you want to promote, where are you performing next?
Next I'm performing at the San Francisco Sketch Fest with Stacy doing Joyride. After that, I'm doing the Vancouver's Theater Sports Valentine's Day Massacre. Week after that, it's an improv tournament. And then I've got a bunch of gigs and dates happening for Six Guitars, which you can see on my website at sixguitars.com.
Now, did she hear you by chance doom her to life on a desert island?
No. She is inside a coffee shop.
Oh,
and
see,
out of it.
I wanted to talk to her. Okay, well, she'll have to listen to this later. Hey, man, you have a safe day. You have an awesome day. Keep what you're doing. We'll hope to see us. Are you coming back to Fringe this year?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing Six Guitars and a new Joyride.
Yeah, and you said that, right? And here I am not listening to you. There you go. You have a great day. Be safe. Treat her well. Thank her. And thank her for allowing me to take an hour of your time.
All right, man, no problem. You have a good day.
All right, you have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the interview with Chase Padgett, the legendary Chase Padgett. This man is awesome, man. If you get a chance to see him, you want to see what he does. He's got a lot of shows going on. So Orlando International Fringe Festival, he'll be here. He's got Joyride and Six Guitars he's bringing. So he's got 2 shows, because you know why? He's Chase Padgett. This has been PJ and Friends. Please stop by pjandfriends.com. Like us on Facebook, because we need to be liked. If not, we will hunt you down. You guys have a great Friday. Bye-bye.
You're listening to PJ and Friends.